Affecting kinetics. Well, the first major factor that affects kinetics is obviously related to the reactants themselves. And to understand kinetics, we have to define it first. Okay, what does kinetics mean? Okay, is what we need to define. What does the word kinetics mean? Kinetics, by definition, is the speed of a chemical reaction. Now, speed, we use the word rate. So all chemical reactions have rates. And the rate of a chemical reaction is controlled by two key factors. The collisions that take place between the reactants and the chemical reaction steps. All chemical reactions have what we call mechanisms. So those are the key two components. The collisions that take place between the reactants and the mechanisms. There are 5 main things that can affect this first component, which is your collisions. 1 is the nature of your reactant. What does that mean? What phase are your reactants in? What type of reactants are you working with? Second, contact area, surface area. How many times are the reactants going to collide per time? Is directly related to how many times they can touch each other. So anything that you can do to increase the amount of times they touch each other. That means reactant A comes in contact with reactant B. Anything you can do to increase that, you will increase the amount of contact, therefore increase the collisions. So contact area, surface area is the second main component. The third main thing is concentration. The more reactants you have, the more collisions you will have, the faster the reaction will go. The fourth thing, when they do collide, they're going to have a certain amount of energy to overcome the fact that they need to break their bonds and create new bonds. Now, whether electrons are exchanged or not, or whether the fact just the bond needs to break and a new bond needs to form, you're going to need a certain amount of energy, which we refer to as the threshold energy. So there's a quantity of energy that you're going to need when you collide in order to break the bonds. And therefore temperature that you're doing your reaction will play a role in the collisions. And the last thing that directly affects mechanism, is there an alternative mechanism that you can create? That means steps for the chemical reaction to occur, that you won't need as much threshold energy or as much what we refer to as activation energy. Catalyst, direct effect, is creating an alternative to the amount of activation energy you need by adjusting and creating a new mechanism. So those are the key factors when it comes to these kinetics studies. I'm going to put a series of these video recordings for you guys today so that you can start the process of studying kinetics, or reviewing kinetics, because we basically have done a lot of this reading already. I'm just going over it to make sure